around YouTube? It's your boy Danny back again at the Cornercade, and today, guys, we're gonna take a look at the Atari 50th anniversary from Arcade1Up, guys. Is this gonna be worth your $4.99 price point? You get a lot of added value in this. You get the 14 Atari classics that we've seen in previous integrations, like last year's Atari Centipede Legacy cabinet. You're gonna get, plus though, you're gonna get these 2,600 Atari games. You're going to get 50 of them total on this cabinet, making this one of the most, I guess, number of games on a cabinet that we've seen. So could this be the extra added value that you've been looking for, especially as an Atari fan or just an Arcade1Up fan in general, guys? Let me show you what we're looking at here. Let's bring it in a twofold. We got the Atari 50th cabinet there. The renders kind of don't do it justice. When you see this thing in person, it's a little bit better as far as the gold trim, but you're going to get those 14 Atari classics plus there, those 50 Atari 2600 games. Of course, this is Wi-Fi enabled. You're going to get the light up buttons, light up coin door, guys. You're going to get one hell of a package brought to you by Arcade1Up and Atari. Arcade1Up did design this cab in full collaboration with Atari going forward. So really cool stuff here, guys. Is this going to be worth your money at the end of the day? We're going to do a full breakdown and review, get some gameplay in of the Atari 2600 games, because that's something that's new to Arcade1Up, and it all comes next, guys, right now. All right, guys, so starting up at the top of the cabinet here, absolutely beautiful marquee, very rich, deep blacks, beautiful print. Nothing wrong with this one. You will not have to replace this marquee at all. It's actually quite stunning in person. Very high def, detailed, reverse printed acrylic marquee. Absolutely stunning. I will say though, to note that mine came with a little bit of markage there and there. Something you could easily fill in, I would assume, with a black Sharpie, or give Arcade1Up a ring to see if they will replace it, but absolutely breathtaking marquee. Getting into the side panels here, we're gonna have that Atari gold logo and the Atari 50th branding down at the bottom here with that riserless design, screw cap covers and all. It's a very sharp piece with that deluxe model. Definitely a different design here as Arcade1Up went a different route as a non-authentic arcade art. They're doing this Atari 50th branding, and we'll flip it over to the other side for you. All right, so here's the other side. Both of the sides are the same. Thought I'd show you both there. No riserless deluxe design. It's gonna have the gold trim on both sides and all around the cabinet. Got the screw cap covers here. And it's gonna bring you around to the front of the cabinet here. Below that marquee, you're gonna have some really cool speaker grills with a little gold trim, both yellow and gold, around the speaker grills. The sound sounds excellent. Gonna bring it down to that BOE screen here, 17 inches. Absolutely awesome for both viewing angles. There is zero washout with this thing. Looking really, really nice. All right, guys, so looking at the control panel here, you're gonna have a joystick right here. You're gonna have 6 buttons that all light up, as you can clearly see. Nice little trackball and a spinner. The spinner on this one isn't the best, isn't the greatest, but I will tell you this. It will sit there and spin till the cows come home. As you can clearly hear there, it'll just keep going. So it's not bad. The live button here that lights up as well. On-off switch, volume switch. You got 2 lava buttons for the player 1, player 2. They obviously light up, Arcade1Up branding. And you're gonna have a button here to switch on and off the lights, so you can switch those here and just turn them off if you don't like that look at all. I will say this, with these buttons, they do sound and feel a lot better than your standard Arcade1Up mushy buttons. And if you take the control panel off that I have before, they actually do thread in like real buttons would. So they have to be a higher quality button by far. I'm not saying that these are the best of the best arcade, you know, authentic quality Sanwa buttons or anything like that, but they are a step up from what you're used to getting in a traditional Arcade1Up. Also here, this stick right here, it does sit very close to the edge, so it makes it very difficult to want to play on this side. It will rub your hand a little bit, so that is something to note. Moving down from the control panel, you're going to have that Atari 50th branding right there. Moving down to the kick plate here, another Atari logo. You're going to have this beautiful light up coin door with the Arcade1Up badging on it, and then the 50th logo at the bottom front kick plate to kind of finish off that kick plate. So there's going to be a lot of Atari 50th branding on here. There is a little bit ghosted into the control panel. So as you saw from renders, it's not as bad on the control panel as we saw. It's very ghosted in with that 5-0, but there is a lot of branding on here from the marquee all the way down to the front kick plate, to the side panels. There's going to be some of that obvious branding on there. You got this beautiful faux gold trim all the way around the cabinet. From an aesthetic standpoint and form factor, I think this cabinet actually looks pretty cool with that light up coin door, with the buttons. But as we get into this cabinet here, you're going to see the limitations of the Atari 50th. So I'm 6 foot, guys, and when I'm standing in front of this machine, it's about the same height as your Star Wars, you know, your Street Fighters, your Killer Instincts, any kind of standard 61-inch tall cabinet. The problem though with this design, how it kind of comes at you, unlike Atari Centipede the year before, this screen, there's a little bit of cutoff. So I'm standing here and I cannot see the top of the scores at all. So that is a problem the way the screen sits straight. It's not like a ½ inch slanted or an inch slanted like in previous cabinets of the Atari branding. So like the Centipede cabinet, there's no problem at all. And it's very unfortunate at the end of the day, because when you're standing here, this is just too low of a screen and you're looking too down at the action that's going on. So the one knock on this cabinet right out of the gate is going to be the form factor. Just the overall height of it, I feel like should have been that Dynamo Street Fighter cabinet design. Should have been 3-4 inches higher. Screen should have been maybe like a ½ an inch recessed to just create better viewing angles and a better overall experience at the end of the day. Is it the end of the world? No, but it is something that like I was just disappointed on. Seeing as that we're this far into the game for Arcade1Up, you know, 5-6 years into making these cabinets, should have been definitely quality tested with someone at a 6 foot, you know, standard adult height at the end of the day. So that's one knock I'm going to give on it. The other knock right out of the gate between form factor and functionality is this joystick right here. It's hitting too much of this hand. Either this control panel should have been even Steven up top, or this joystick should have been moved a little bit over just to create more wiggle room for your hand to be able to play on the system itself. All right, guys, so I'm going to fire it up for you so you guys can hear the startup splash screen. Very, very cool. Probably one of their best startup screens. I really like that one, to be quite honest with you. But now we're going to get into some gameplay. These speakers here are very loud, very vibrant, much like the Fast and the Furious. So if you have that cabinet, you're definitely going to know that they've improved the speaker quality on these deluxe models. But guys, I'm going to go down the list of the games here and show you kind of all the added value that brings the Atari 50th really to light. So guys, with the Atari 50th Anniversary Deluxe, you're gonna get 14 classic Atari arcade titles, starting with Centipede, Crystal Castles, Gravatar, Liberator, Lunar Lander, Major Havoc, Millipede, Missile Command, Space Duel, Super Breakout, Tempest, Akahara, Asteroids, Asteroids Deluxe, and then the big beef of everything is going to be your Atari 2600 games. You're going to get 50 of them, and I'll show you guys that list right now. So 50 Atari 2600 classic titles right here. You're not going to get everything, but you're going to get the ones that Arcade1Up can get the licensing to. I'm going to scroll down that list for you guys. Not going to name them all out. You guys can pause the video if you want to see individual one. We're going to get into some gameplay of them, but not of every single title. We would be here all night, of course, but there's a lot of value if you are a Atari 2600 fan and you wanted to show it off on this cabinet to add to your game room or your Atari collection. Definitely see some value here for that. There's a ton of good titles and the most games that have ever been on an Arcade1Up before. So it's super exciting for those Atari fans that really have nostalgia for these games, for the arcade titles. So just going down the list here, some classic ones here. We're going to finish off with Yar's Revenge, definitely a good one. But guys, we're going to get into some gameplay of not only the classic arcade title ones, but the Atari 2600 games as well. All right, guys, so I did notice in my testing that asteroids here, the screen does cut off at the top. So where the scoreboard is where it actually cuts off just a little bit, which is a bezel issue. The bezel doesn't seem to be cut to the screen, so it's not a screen issue at all. So I found that very odd from Arcade1Up that, again, additional testing wasn't done because this is a major flaw that it's just cutting off the top of the screen there. So it's very, very odd that something like this kind of passed quality assurance and everything was good to go. But the scoreboard up here does cut off. So like as you see, there's a 70 there on the right side, and it looks like a 70, if I can guess, on the left side. But yeah, very, very peculiar, as this is the only game that it cuts off. It's only this one for some odd reason. As an added bonus to this cabinet, guys, you're gonna get the Certificate of Authenticity from the Vault Special Edition. This one is plated in gold right here. Very high quality tin metal. Comes with double-sided sticky tape, guys. I just stuck mine to the back of the machine, but you can put it on wherever you want because it comes with that double-sided sticky tape. You can even put it up anywhere in your arcade room or anywhere you see fit. Aesthetically speaking, the Atari 50th anniversary from Arcade1Up is an absolutely beautiful machine on the outside. Again, this isn't something that's true arcade authentic. This is a collab that Arcade1Up did with Atari, and they kind of just designed it in this form factor with this artwork. All in all, I think it's a really cool machine. There are some negatives to this. Right out of the gate, the joystick placement, big time negative, rubs up against the side wall there of the control panel. And the form factor kind of hurts. It's a little bit too small for what it needs to be. It's kind of almost a must sit down cabinet, unfortunately, much like Big Blue. In the 2600 games, unless you're nostalgic for those titles, they don't really age well at the end of the day from someone coming from, you know, straight 90s arcades and early 2000s. They're tough. Unless you're a big fan of the Atari 50th, then I would definitely, I wouldn't recommend it as far as the bonus content goes from that. Some of the positives though, I mean, you get 14 great arcade titles. You get that deluxe form factor with the screw cap covers, the light up coin door, the marquee looks gorgeous, those light up buttons are awesome. Kind of cool that they gave you the Certificate of Authenticity. But at the end of the day, is it worth that $4.99 price point? That's going to be for you guys to decide. Guys, so there you have it. You saw the full breakdown of the cabinet, the form factor, the design, everything, the buttons. We even took a look at the games, obviously, the 2600 games, the 14 Atari arcade classic games. But at the end of the day, was it worth that $4.99? I'm gonna go with a hard pass on this one, and a no. I can see if you get this on sale for $2.99, but even so, with the form factor being just that cutoff sight, kind of almost being a sit-down cabinet only, it's really hard for me personally to recommend this Atari cabinet to you at the end of the day. I can't recommend it. It's something that I would take a pass on, especially at that full price point of $4.99. Like I said, if you get it for $2.99, maybe you can squeeze it in your arcade if you want something different. But unless you're a hardcore, you know, Atari fan, you know, especially a fan of the 2600 growing up, this cabinet wouldn't be for you. But like I said, on the other side, if you guys were, you know, a fan of Atari, if you have an Atari collection and you wanted to add this piece to your collection, by all means, it'd be worth it, with the 2600 games and the 1400, the 14 games, the arcade games in there. But other than that, I would take a hard pass on this, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, guys. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed this type of content. And guys, as always, this is Danny from the Cornercade, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.